Welcome to the itdvds.com YouTube channel. This is just a sample of the training available at itdvds.com. If you would like to see complete training, please go to itdvds.com. Now let's begin the sample. The second option for installation of ESX4 is going to be to install in text mode. And I'm just going to use the down arrow to select it, and I'll go ahead and hit enter. Now, one of the only reasons we're going to install using text mode is if there's something wrong with our graphics controller where the graphical installation doesn't look right or doesn't allow us to configure things. Then we'd want to go ahead and use text mode. But other than that, there's really no reason to use text mode. It doesn't give you more options or it's more advanced. You normally want to use the graphical mode. But let's take a look at what text mode looks like in case we do have to use it. And this is what the text mode looks like. So it's the same process we went through with the graphical installation, but it's all in text. So I'm going to go through this pretty fast because it's all really the same, but I just want you to see what a text installation looks like. So here we get a little message: ESX installs on most systems, but only systems on VMware's hardware compatibility guide are supported. Press 1 to continue, question mark for help, or an exclamation point to exit. I'm going to go ahead and press 1 and hit enter. The next question, our keyboard question, the default is US English, and that's right for me. If we wanted to change it, we'd hit the number 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit 1 and enter. And here's our end user license agreement. I'll type in accept to accept it and hit enter. Do you want to install any custom drivers? This was the custom driver section that we saw in the graphical installation. If we do, we type in 1. If not, number 2. So I have no custom drivers. Hit 2 and enter. Do you want to load the system drivers now? I'll go ahead and hit 1 and enter. It's going to go ahead and load them. And they're all loaded. Now, do you want to enter a serial number? So this is the licensing section. We can enter a serial number now or type in number 2 to enter it later. We'll go ahead and hit 2 and enter. Now we're going to select what network adapter we want to use for our service console. You can see one is selected for us, and it lets us know also that it's connected. Do you want to keep this selection or change it? Press number 2 if we want to change it. I want to keep it, so I'll go ahead and press 1 and hit enter. And we're going to configure our network settings here. The default's DHCP. We want a static IP, so we're going to go ahead and change to static network settings. So I'll go ahead and hit 2 and enter. Now we're going to go ahead and enter in the static IP address, and I'll type in 192.168.6.80 and hit enter. And I'll go ahead and press 1 to keep what we just entered. Now we're going to enter in the subnet mask. If the default isn't correct, we want to change it. That's correct for me, so I'll just press 1 to keep it. And our gateway, I'm going to want to change this gateway. I've got a different one. So I'll go ahead and type in 192.168.6.1, hit enter, and press 1 to keep it. Now we're going to want to type in the primary DNS server, so I'll go ahead and type that in, hit enter, and 1 to keep it. And a secondary DNS server, I'll go ahead and type that in, .101, hit enter, and 1 again to keep it. Now we want to enter in the host name, esx02.itdvds.local. Remember, this has to be a fully qualified domain name. I'll hit enter, and 1 to keep it. Lets us review our settings here. I'm going to go ahead and press 1 to keep them. They all look good. Now we're at the disk setup section. Remember, we've got a basic setup here, also called the standard setup, or an advanced setup. We went through an advanced setup last time, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a basic setup. You can still configure your partitions for your service console in the advanced setup. It's not quite as easy, but you can still do it. But I'm just going to do a basic setup here. 1 and enter. And I'm going to pick the hard drive we want to put ESX on. I'll go ahead and put it on the first one. 1 and enter. And it lets me know it's going to erase that drive. So I'll just 1 for OK and enter. And time zone, the default you can see is Pacific Standard Time. I'm just going to go ahead and change that. I'll hit 2 and enter. And it gives me a nice list of them here. And I'll hit enter actually to scroll down. And I can see the one I want is number 35, US Arizona. So I'll just type in 35, hit enter. And 1 to keep it, and enter. Do we want to configure the time and date? We can do it automatically with a network time protocol server. I'm going to do it manually. Hit 2 and enter. And it gives me the current time. I'm just going to go ahead and keep that. 1 and enter. I could change it if I like, if it was wrong. Here we're going to set the root password. And I'll go ahead and type it in and hit enter and confirm it. Enter again. And if we want to scroll down to review our installation, you hit the enter. Once you're ready, you can go ahead and type in 1 and enter. And now it's going to go ahead and run through the installation.